The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
We talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it works like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
Oh, yeah. Late night edition. What is up, everybody? Where else would you rather be? A lot of crazy stuff happened today. So I guess they found 85,000 out of the 300,000 missing children already. Gotta look into that. And then Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, comes down, drops the hammer on Elon, knocks him down a peg, I guess. She tells him that he's not going to have a West Wing office. And so a little, I guess, I don't know, what'd you call it? But a little bit, Elon getting a little active with Germany and telling them to not feel guilty about their past. And everybody's kind of upset about that. He's kind of feeding the momentum of what they were saying about him a few days ago. And Trump, well, not Trump, Congress is saying that they want to rename Dulles Airport to Trump Airport. That and a lot of other things. I'm going to jump into it. So first, we got to check out this story about what Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, came out and said. So let's take a look at this thing. How's everybody doing tonight? Is everybody out and about or kind of hanging out tonight? I was planning on getting this thing started at 9, but then that did not happen. More stuff started coming out and wanted to get things together all nice. So let's see. Got this article from the Daily Mail here. Let me pull this thing up. What is up? All right. Trump's Ice Maiden chief of staff launches brutal takedown of Elon Musk as she refuses to give him a West Wing office and issues a stark warning over being co-president. All right. So Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, yep, brutal takedown. Got it. Much has been made over the billionaire status as the first buddy as he serves as chairman over the Department of Government Efficiency and even sitting in on Oval Office as Trump signs bills, but he also causes controversy, becoming an easy target for Democrats, who have jokingly referred to him as the co-president. Wiles, 67 years old, veteran of GOP politics, saw her first victory on Trump's first day in office when he confirmed Musk would not have a desk in the West Wing. Musk was reportedly pushing for his own room just yards away from the Oval Office, but his DOGE team will instead be based in the Eisenhower building, which is across the road from the White House. The chief administrator of DOGE must also report to Wiles, a sign of her control over the White House. Experts believe Wiles, who ran Trump's 2016 campaign and 2020 Florida campaign successfully, has what it takes to handle the president. She has also an abundance of charm and she'll need every bit of it to survive this job, said Chris Whipple, an author of Trump's 2024 book. Got it. So much is made. So yeah, I mean, I think this is the plan all along because I mean, Elon's not a day one guy. I think that now that Trump has like all the moral authority and public support in the world, he could do things like this, and you kind of have to knock Elon down a peg because he's come out and said some pretty I guess like anti-Trump agenda stuff. And now that what does Trump have to lose now? Like he could literally say anything that's on his mind. And I mean, let's see. There was this interesting clip that came out the other day where they asked him, like Elon or Trump, about Elon's response to the $500 billion investment that includes Sam Altman, who Elon hates, and Trump was like super dismissive of it. Here, let me pull that up. Elon Altman. Here we go. Here we go.
President, does it bother you that Elon Musk
criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, he hates one of the people in the deal.
Have you spoken to him since then?
No, I've spoken to Elon, but I've spoken to all of them.
Let me restart that.
Mr.
Sir,
President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, he hates one of the people in the deal.
Have you spoken to him since then?
No, I've spoken to Elon, but I've spoken to all of them, actually. No, the people in the deal are very, very smart people. But Elon, one of the people he happens to hate, but I have certain hatreds of people too.
Sir,
You know?
sir,
Mr.
Sir,
President, does it bother
Let's
you?
talk about Sam Altman there. So I don't know. Elon's coming out saying like he's criticizing the bank, saying the bank doesn't have $500 billion worth of secured credit. So they aren't good for the loan. Like, you know, their SoftBank's making $500 billion worth of investment into the AI stuff. And Elon's trying to poke holes into that. But I don't know. That's I think it's a little weird that Trump's like jumping right in with Altman, but I think it's like the bigger picture thing, you know, like we have to like be number one in the AI thing. And I mean, even if it is Altman, even if he's part of it, I think it's worth it. Let's see. Elon, SoftBank. CNBC says Elon is right about SoftBank funding for Stargate, says Jeffries from Asia. So, was there nothing here? Okay, there's nothing in that article. Here we go. Elon Musk says Project Stargate doesn't actually have the money after Trump announces $500 billion in AI investment led by SoftBank, Oracle, and OpenAI. Tesla Inc. CEO Elon Musk cast doubt on Wednesday on the ambitious $500 billion Stargate hours after its announcement, claiming lead investor SoftBank has well under $10 billion secured. So what actually happened? The project unveiled Tuesday at the White House in a White House briefing in the presence of Donald Trump represents a venture between OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle to establish a massive AI infrastructure across the United States. Elon said they don't actually have the money. SoftBank is well under $10 billion secured. I have that on good authority. During the briefing, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison highlighted the project's healthcare applications, blah, blah, blah. OpenAI maintaining operational responsibility while SoftBank leads financial aspects. So do they have the money or not? I mean, the way the banks work today, like it really doesn't matter. Like they could give a loan, like they could create $500 billion and give it as a loan or invest it as a loan. Let's see if anybody's making an actual case about this instead of speculating. Same thing. Does SoftBank have 500 billion secured? So it's all just Elon Musk reacts. But you know, things the principle of it. I think like an interesting question is like, would they have publicly denounced him like this, like with saying that he's not going to have an office there if he didn't come out and say something like this? I don't think so. I don't think this is that big of a deal to Trump. I think he knows there's just business rivalries and everything like that. So, like I said, I think that if the president wants a bank to do something, like, you know, banks, they literally are the ones who create money. So if he wants them to have $5 billion, if the regulators allow them to give a $500 billion loan, they could do that. Like, very few loans out there are secured these days. But something that is worth talking about in a big way is what the hell happened with this child trafficking thing. So it's coming out today that 80,000 of the kids have already been found in 5 days. Like these 300,000 missing migrant kids, like 80-something thousand have already been found. So what the hell was Biden doing? What the hell is Mayorkas doing? So check this out.
second wave that Tom Home and the borders are for Trump has told me about, and all of this will focus on those missing children, hundreds of thousands of them that we know. And that number has started to already come down, Emily, from 300,000. So they've found about 75 to 80,000 of those kids already. If they can get the list of these guys, 4 full days in office for Trump, if they can get the list of where some of those kids have been, and they've been identifying it, you know, since the election, going after them and trying to find those little ones, what in the world was Biden's administration doing? What was Secretary of Homeland Mayorkas doing when he said to the committees on Capitol Hill, we don't know where those kids are, I'll look into it? No, dude, you obviously had a better way to find them, and you didn't do your job. I can't believe they impeached him and didn't remove him.
I mean, that's insane. That knows that they knew exactly where they are. Like, what is Mayorkas doing? Is he like literally facilitating this? And got some from Misty. Man, Misty is the best. Smash that like button. You vote Kamala if you don't. Couldn't have said it better myself. Insane. So Stephen Miller also came in and said something about this.
As you know, 500,000 children trafficked over a 4-year period in the United States. This administration is going to investigate every instance of child trafficking, labor trafficking, sex trafficking, child smuggling, and all the attendant crimes involved in that. And our message to everyone in the country is to cooperate fully with Immigration and Customs Enforcement so that we can end the scourge of child trafficking and child abuse that has been endemic these last 4 years.
It's insane. So I have to pull up a clip of Mayorkas when they were asking him about this, because you know, this is such a bad look that they could do this easily. And then he's literally saying, I don't know. By the way, we got 300 here. Should I just start doing these at 11 o'clock every night, or is this just a Saturday thing? All right. And then check this out. So this doesn't look very
Another
good.
element I want to remind, because this is painful stuff that people don't want to talk about in Washington. She interviewed a lot of these children who related to her what happened to them on their journey when they're in the custody of the cartels. Yes, they were sexually assaulted. Yes, they were forced into labor that isn't appropriate for children under the age of 18. Yes, they're told that they have to pay off their debts when they get here, and they don't know what that means. Does that mean having sex? Does that mean doing some form of indentured servitude until they pay off their debts? It's the most inhumane way that any child could ever enter the country, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris created that pathway.
Ms. Marcos, you testified a moment ago to Senator Butler that every child gets a Know Your Rights presentation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that before or after you release them to labor traffickers?
Senator, every child that comes into our care gets a Know Your Rights presentation.
Have you read that children are scrubbing dishes? They are operating heavy machinery. They are delivering meals. They are harvesting coffee. They are working construction. They are working as housekeepers. They are working overnight shifts at plants where they are not paid. They are not going to school. They are not cared for. They are not giving meals. Almost all of it illegally. Are you aware of that? That's a yes or no.
Yes.
Do the Know Your Rights presentation help them in those situations?
Senator ORR.
That's a yes or no, I think. Do you really think that you're helping these children by releasing them to labor traffickers and, yes, sex traffickers? 85,000 children whom you have no contact with, and your answer is we gave them a presentation before we turned them over to these people who are exploiting them on a scale not seen in this country for 100 years, a century. Do you do home visits in all cases? You can actually see where these children are being released, whose care you're putting them in?
We do not do home visits in all cases. Senator, I'd really like the opportunity to talk about what we
Let's look at what the secretary said to you. Mr. Becerra, the secretary, told the ORR director, that's you, right?
Extraordinary times call for extraordinary people.
Yes.
That if she could not increase the number of discharges, he would find someone who could. That if Henry Ford had run his plants like this, he would never have become famous and rich. This is not the way you do an assembly line. Get the kids out, run them through, get them out to those sponsors, those traffickers. Why didn't you resign when he said this? Do you think that this is morally acceptable? Do you think that this is acceptable to run OR like an assembly line and to release these children
I
to
can
traffickers?
assure you we do not run OR like an assembly line. The safety and well-being of children is our top concern.
Plainly, it is not your top concern because you have managed to lose 85,000 of them, and they're with labor traffickers. How many are you in regular contact with right now?
I don't have the specific number.
How can you not know? Why would you come to this hearing and not know?
Respectfully,
I would like you to do your job and not release children to human traffickers. Respectfully, that's what I would like. I'd like you not facilitate the largest child trafficking ring in American history.
Insane. I mean, like, true evil stuff. And like, the question is, like, who's benefiting from this stuff? Like, is there like literally like like a handshake agreement where, like, okay, yeah, we'll let this slide, we'll overlook this stuff, you could benefit from it, give us some money? Like why is this problem such an ignored thing? Like, there's been like this for decades now, where there's always missing children and no politicians will talk about it. I mean, except for now. And then look at what Mayorkas was saying at one point. Like, this isn't too long ago. Like, this is crazy. Where'd this thing go?
Unable to account for ICE was also unable to account for more than 32,000 unaccompanied kids who failed to appear in court from 2019 to 2023, according to the report we read. The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says these children are being exploited and trafficked. Is that true?
Well,
Do you know?
Margaret, we certainly have received reports of children being trafficked, even those as to whom we know where they are. That is outside the responsibility of the Department of Homeland Security.
Mhm.
What we do is we turn children over within 72 hours, as the law requires, to the Department of Health and Human Services, and then HHS places those children. Of course, we investigate cases of trafficking, but there are children who are reunited with a parent here in the United States or a legal guardian, and they move. And sometimes the government loses track. Individuals do not comply with their reporting obligations or otherwise. I think it is inaccurate to say that all of them are trafficked or victimized. There are a number of reasons why we might lose track of an individual. That is not necessarily specific to this administration. That has been a long-standing challenge in the immigration system. One example of why that system is so broken, why the duration of time in proceedings is unacceptably long and has to be remedied. Remember, we're dealing with a system that was last reformed in 1996.
God, that guy is pure evil. Like, I don't know if any of you guys saw the podcast that Pat did with Annika Lucas, but she talked about being part of one of these ranks, like this elite high wealth people, like where her mother gave her to this child trafficking ring, and she, like, all the worst things in the world happened to her. And she claims that when she went to try to report it, like, nobody would listen to her because, like, the judges and law enforcement and everybody was involved. So, like, obviously natural thought is Epstein with this. There's a weird, crazy stuff around this child trafficking thing. But I mean, thank God he's in here now. And I guess, like I said, 85,000 out of 300,000 missing have been found already in the first week. That's insane. Literally doing God's work. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, what the hell is going on with that? Like, was the government literally facilitating this? Let's see. What's up, LMG? Blaming the system and people, these people with no authority. Yeah, I know. PD did get beat up in this comment section in that interview. What do you think of that interview, Miss T? Asinine Spirit. So what? You didn't believe her in that one? Annika Lucas. I mean, the David Rockefeller part of that made all the sense in the world to me. Like, I don't know how much you guys know about David Rockefeller, but like, he was a sick, twisted guy. Like, some of the shit that he was saying and writing and just flatly going out there and saying, like, yeah, there's too many people in the world. We got to decrease the amount of people in the world. Yeah, Texas woman, like Alejandra Mayorkas, one of the most disgusting humans in the world. I mean, when I imagine what that guy's dirty secrets are, I imagine the worst things possible. He just has that look of evil in his eye. Denise, thank you. Denise says, I appreciate the way Brandon does research and also looks up what we are interested in. Love the format. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Denise. Love all you guys. Like I said, I love that we're doing this every day because like the news cycle is so fast right now. And I feel like every day there's just like an abundance of stuff to talk about. Like there's a saying that there's decades where nothing happens and then months where decades happen. Like we're in a time where we're seeing decades worth of change happening in days and weeks and months. So I couldn't be happier to do it this way, do this format. Because, you know, if you do something just twice a week, then like, you know, by the time you're reacting to something that happened a couple of days ago, you know, like you're a whole week behind the news cycle. It's undoable. Yeah, for real. Like that guy is pure evil. Let's see, I'm interested. I mean, there might be some recency bias here, but if I put it in the poll, if I put who is more evil between Mayorkas and who's a good competitor, Mayorkas? Who is more evil between Mayorkas and Fauci? Who is more evil, Mayorkas or Fauci? Who wins that poll? Who's more evil? Mayorkas, Fauci. Boom. That's a tough one. Who is more evil, Mayorkas or Fauci? Brandon Bolton says, I've been saying it since the beginning, since they started building it. The walls and to keep people out will keep us in. Oh, come on. What are you talking about? Maria H says, hey, I've been going back to catch your lives. They've been great. So happy to actually make it live tonight. Maria, thank you so much. How you doing? Great to have you live. So I wonder who in this chat is like normally a night owl? Because like I got a problem. I'd go to sleep at like 4 a.m. most nights, and you have to wake up at 7:30 for work. And luckily, I could function like that. Like we brought up in the podcast the other day that there's this gene that allows you to not need as much sleep. I argue with my friends about it all the time, but here, let me pull this up. Tell me if you guys think I'm full of it. Gene that allows people to sleep less. Here we go. Tell me if you think I'm full of it. This is what I think I have. Scientists discover how gene mutation reduces the need for sleep. It's every overachiever's dream, a gene mutation that allows them to function normally with just 4 to 6 hours of sleep at night instead of the normal 8. Now, listen, I'm not going to lie. I feel terrible when I wake up and only slept for 2 hours. But, like, you know, after I get going, I don't feel all that different from if I got 8 hours of sleep. just the wake up part that's grueling. So in 2009, UC San Francisco neurology professor Yinghui Fu, PhD, discovered a mutation in the gene DEC2 in a family of natural short sleepers, people who go to bed at a normal time, 11 p.m. to midnight, but wake up naturally at 5 in the morning. These are not the people who've trained themselves to wake up early for blah blah blah. So let's see. DEC2 helps regulate circadian rhythms, a natural biological clock that dictates hormones release and influence brain such behaviors. Sleep out, sleep. New study suggests that DEC2 may lower your level of alertness even by binding to and inhibiting MYOD1, a gene that turns on orexin production before dawn. I don't even know what I'm looking for. Views of the mutation in human short sleepers weakens DE2's ability to put the brakes on MYOD1, leading to more orexin production and causing short sleepers to stay awake longer. The role of DEC2 is likely to make sure orexin is expressed in the right amount at the right time of the day. It's the timekeeper to make sure orexin level. All right, so that's like a whole bunch of gibberish. I don't know. It sounds like what it's saying is that, I don't know, my deduction of it is that what sleep does, it makes certain chemicals do certain things at certain times, and that's what makes you operate normally. Some people, those chemicals can get released the same way as if you slept a lot, if you didn't sleep a lot. And, you know, the crazy thing about the brain is that I think this is true. I'm not positive of it, but I heard that, like, when you take a drug, it's not that the drug is doing something to you. It's that the drug is like a key that unlocks something in your brain that releases a chemical. And so, like, the way that a drug will make somebody feel is already something that's like within them that could be released, but the drug is just there to release that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember hearing that before. So I say that to say I don't think we know shit about how we could actually operate. Absolutely. Miss T, thanks. You have to have different options and information. That douchebag is passing the buck. Who may Arcus? Hello, Geraldine. Opus DEI. Graham says, I worked 2 jobs and got caught hours sleep before those jobs. After a while, I was fine. Exactly. You adapt. Sounds logical. Yeah, no, I think so. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man or woman healthy, wealthy, and wise. I know my ideal setup would be to go to bed by midnight and wake up at 6 every day, but I could never freaking fall asleep. We just had a guy on the PBD podcast. I don't think it got released yet. I think it's getting released soon. Who talks about, like sleep optimization and food optimization, and I want to do that because I feel like I function pretty well all the time, but like definitely not optimized from a sleep standpoint. Because I just try to be as I guess productive and like useful to people as much as I can. So I don't feel like sleeping adds to that. Hot take, oddly enough, do you think China should be charged with worldwide biological warfare for COVID-19? Yeah, what, you're talking like a Treaty of Versailles thing where like they have to pay war reparations? I think you can make a case for it, but I don't like those situations end up like creating a bigger problem down the road. Because if you remember, World War I is what led to World War II happening. Like we just pounded Germany with war reparations. We like basically made them pay more than their entire GDP was in war reparations that caused hyperinflation. And that caused hyperinflation in Germany, then that caused the Weimar Republic. All kinds of sick, nasty stuff happened in Germany during that time where they had like prostitution, all the tranny stuff, like child trafficking. And then, Hitler comes along, like promises the people, hey, I'm going to get all this shit, like, cut out of here. I'm going to get things back on track. I'm going to do this and that. So creates a situation where they want like a strong leader to come along and like set things straight and like create some order. And ultimately, like, I guess that's what my point is, that's what made Germany susceptible to being kind of swept up by somebody who came along and said they were going to like make everything okay again. And they were tired of the war reparations or the like war conditions of the punishments they had on. Like they couldn't have a army over a certain amount. They lost land during that agreement. And the reason they even lost that war is because America freaking got involved. Like it was at a stalemate until America gets involved in World War I, and then we, just bludgeoned Germany and put them in this like weak, pathetic position, and then they come back with a vengeance in World War II. So my point is that if we, like China, already in a terrible position. I mean, if you guys want to look, I'll show you. I've been saying this for years. China's like in a terrible position right now. Like their economy is cascading, falling apart. Like they're in it for a rough stretch of time. Let's see, China economy. Like, you think inflation's bad? Deflation's a serious, serious, serious problem. Like, imagine trying to stimulate your economy by pumping money into it, and it still won't inflate. That's how bad things are there. So, like, all I did was type in China economy. Top stories. Will China's economy charm and the year-end snake? Huh? Council of Foreign Relations. We trust them. Rebalancing China's economy stimulates confidence and self-sufficiency. EU risks falling behind China and U.S. collapse. Let's see, deflation. All right, so New York Times, China's central bank stops buying bonds as deflation fears grip economy. So remember, when it says they stopped buying bonds, that means they stopped quantitative easing. Because if you remember, like I told you guys before, the reason the government buys bonds is to press down the interest rates on the bonds, right? So they can encourage lending, basically. In a striking sign of the Chinese economy stagnation, the central bank said on Friday that it had temporarily stopped buying government bonds. The central bank's unexpected action is aimed at breaking a recent shift by investors towards purchasing bonds while shunning riskier assets like stocks and real estate. That shift has driven China's long-term blah, 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 blah. So what happens here, like why this is a big disaster, is because so deflation, what happens is like there's so much stuff there, like they're such a manufacturing powerhouse that like the market's kind of like oversupplied with goods and people are don't have like a big consumer mentality there. A very small percentage of their economic activity is consumption compared to the US. So businesses will have to lower their prices to try to get people to buy stuff. Then people see that trend. They're like, oh, they keep lowering prices. I'm going to wait a month to buy this thing. Then, that snowballs and businesses will have to lay people off because nobody's buying things. And then, the problem grows and grows and grows. And that's why, like, last I saw, like 20% of China's young men were unemployed. Let's see if that's still the case. That was like last year, so it might be even worse. China, young male unemployment. 3 weeks ago, China's overqualified youth taking jobs as drivers and laborers and film extras. China is now a country where a high school handyman has a master's degree in physics. A cleaner is qualified in environmental planning, and a delivery driver studied philosophy, and a PhD graduate from prestigious Tingshu University ends up applying to work as an auxiliary police officer. These are real cases in a struggling economy, and it's not hard to find more like them. My quote, my dream job was to work in investment banking, says Sun Zhan, as he prepares to start his shift as a waiter in a hot pot restaurant in the southern city of Nanjing. The 25-year-old recently graduated with a master's degree in finance. He was hoping to make a lot of money in a high-paying role, but adds, I looked for such a job with no good results. China's churning out millions of university graduates every year, but in some fields, there just aren't enough jobs for them. The economy has been struggling and stalling in major sectors, including real estate and manufacturing. Youth employment has, here we go, been nudging 20% before the way of measuring the figures was altered to make the situation look better. Yeah, we know governments love to do that, just like how they were gaslighting us and telling us that our job market was better than ever. There's so many jobs. Oh, it's great. Our unemployment rates are like 3%. But then it turns out that they were counting the jobs that went towards illegal immigrants, and they were counting second jobs towards the overall number. So that, there was probably more like 5 or 6% for the unemployment rate than as opposed to 3%. Same thing with crime data. The crime data was so much worse because they weren't counting the freaking highest crime rate cities in the crime report. So China changed the way they measured youth unemployment to make it look better. Many university graduates who found it hard to get work in their area of selected study are now doing jobs well below what they're qualified to do, leading to criticism from family and friends. So you get the point. I mean, it's a bad situation there. Like I could talk all day about like the crazy things of China. And the reason I bring this up is because our buddy here, who was it? Our buddy here, Asinine Spirit, asked, should we put any type of punishment on China? And I think China's going through a punishment enough. I think that if we punish them any more, then, like we don't want to create that sense of desperation in them because they're like a wounded animal right now. You know what I mean? Like we don't want, like they're already in a situation where they're probably best set up now than they ever will be in the next like 50 years to do something with Taiwan if they wanted to. So we don't want to make them go from being like desperate to do or die and like kind of push them over the edge there. It's like, don't get in your enemy's way when they're falling, or what's the saying? Don't interrupt your enemy while they're falling or while they're making a mistake, whatever. And so they made a lot of mistakes. They're paying for it. So I don't think there's any need to get in their way. They're going to face a lot of hardship over the next few decades. Totally accidental China rant there, but it's the beauty of doing this chat like this. And, one question could prompt like a 20-minute answer. And we'll get a sense of if you guys like that or hate that. Yes, it's a green screen behind me, Queen. Sabrina PG, how you doing? Military tribunal for Fauci, since the pardon only covers federal charges. I'm with it. I'll tell you what, more than anything, I'm happy that that Fauci's going to have to live in fear for the rest of his life because his $15 million secret security detail got taken away yesterday, and it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I know. I don't trust Sam Altman. We've been seeing some weird stuff about Sam Altman lately, like the stuff with his sister and everything. And then did you guys watch Tucker's interview with the mother of that kid who like got suicided that worked at ChatGPT? Like that was weird. Like that looks like a professional hit. People historically who had 2 hours of sleep representing 2 sleep cycles. Nowadays, people assume they should sleep straight through the night or take drugs or sleep. Good point, Seb Murdoch. Sam is scum. Elaborate. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Let's see where this poll's at. Wow, Fauci's blowing out Mayorkas. Shit. Where are we at right now? Damn, 85% for Fauci still. Okay. 181 votes. All right. The consensus is in. Oh, I hope they do stuff with Antarctica. It's one of the most interesting things. Oh, the government was definitely complicit. There's CIA reports, Texas woman, that like there's CIA whistleblowers that are saying that the Obama and Fauci were complicit with the Wuhan lab, or not that they were specifically complicit with it, but that are saying that like the thing was released from the Wuhan lab intentionally. I know Steve Pete goes to bed early sometimes, but yeah, no, there's some guys that never miss it, but this one's my fault. I like doing it later on the weekends because I mean it's interesting. We have a bigger group tonight, so maybe it's a good thing to do a little bit later, but or at least on the weekends. Maybe Friday and Saturday night we'll do a late one. But yeah, no, that's probably my fault that Steve's not here because I didn't announce this and I didn't post it earlier. I just I promised you guys I was going to do one every day this year, so I'm going to do one every day this year. So got it in right before the end of January 25th. Pervitin created a drug problem in Germany. Who's Pervitin? Speaking of Germany, Elon Musk made a visit to, or like a virtual visit to the German AfD party, and people are not happy about it. Let's see here. Check this out. So Elon Musk. Oh wait, this is the news reaction to his his moment of excitement, his hail thing. But so I'm gonna show you this, and then I'm gonna show you what he said to the AfD group.
Tonight, Elon Musk making light of a gesture some found offensive at an inauguration celebration Monday.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Some critics saying this hand motion looked like a Nazi salute. This morning, Elon Musk on X with a message containing a series of Nazi-related puns, including saying, quote, bet you did Nazi that coming. The Anti-Defamation League, which initially defended Musk's gesture as just an awkward onstage moment, chastising him in a statement today, saying, quote, the Holocaust is not a joke. Musk has not responded to our request for comment about the incident. It's the latest in a string of controversies ignited by the world's richest man, the close ally of President Trump. Musk undercutting Trump's announcement just days ago of a new $500 billion artificial intelligence initiative called Stargate. It's a collaboration of several existing AI brands.
We want it to be in this country, and we're making it available.
Musk posting on X, quote, they don't actually have the money. Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI and one of Stargate's biggest backers, firing back, writing, quote, wrong, as you surely know.
Mr. President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, it doesn't. He hates one of the people in the deal.
Musk earning a seat at Trump's inner circle after spending an eye-popping sum on his campaign, a reported $250 million. That included a daily $1 million giveaway to registered voters who signed a petition in battleground Pennsylvania.
If you already believe in the Constitution, you're just signing something you already believe, and you can win $1 million. That's awesome.
But sources within the Trump transition told NBC News his newfound influence has caused conflict in Trump world. His support of H-1B visas for foreign workers enraged the MAGA faithful. And his near constant presence at Mar-a-Lago annoyed some Trump officials, with one saying, quote, he's behaving as if he's a co-president.
And no, he's not taking the presidency.
The two billionaires themselves have had a love-hate relationship, with Elon Musk initially opposing his bid for president in 2016.
I feel a bit stronger that probably he's not the right guy. It doesn't seem to have the sort of character that reflects well on the United States.
And although their relations warmed after Trump's first election, they've still had their differences.
You know, he said the other day, oh, I've never voted for a Republican. I said, I didn't know that. He told me he voted for me. So he's another honest.
But Musk endorsed Trump after the assassination attempt against him in Pennsylvania last summer and has been a staunch supporter ever since.
All right, Yamiche joins us tonight from Washington. Yamiche, great to have you on Top Story tonight. This is not the first time Elon Musk has been accused of anti-Semitism, right?
That's right. Some have criticized Elon Musk, saying that he spread anti-Semitic messages on social media. They also say that under his ownership, X, formerly known as Twitter, has also been more inviting to hate speech. Elon Musk has denied spreading any sort of anti-Semitic messaging. And he also says Twitter, now of course known as X, is a place that's really about free speech, Tom.
Is anyone in Trump world, anyone in the administration disowning Elon Musk because of his jokes about Nazis?
Well, this is a key question. We haven't seen anyone in Trump world or close Trump allies break from Elon Musk because of this gesture or because of his statements even today with those Nazi puns. What we have seen is Steve Bannon, who is a longtime ally of President Trump, someone who served in the first Trump administration. He has been criticizing Elon Musk for a different issue, and that is his comments on artificial intelligence.
All right, got it. So Jacob Ryan says, did you backtrack on your video talking about Sean Ryan? Are you talking about the one where I said that it seemed I made a few videos about Sean Ryan. One of them said that he might have gotten played. I don't think we have any more clarity on what happened with those two terrorist attacks or Sean Ryan. So no, I can't say I did backtrack on it yet. I don't think anything's really changed since then. And if something has changed that I'm missing, enlighten me. Asinine Spirit says, I hate superstition people talk about zodiac signs in the year of certain animals. Like, bro, I'm with you on the year of certain animals, but zodiac signs, I mean, so there's a saying that says millionaires mock astrology and billionaires live by it. I think like JP Morgan said that or something, but fact of the matter is that like every planet gives off different frequency. Like, you know, that's a proven thing that the military uses, like different frequencies. They could like piss off large crowds with it or like kind of pacify them, like make them feel different ways. So these silent frequencies that like we could generate, that we could make people feel different ways with, the plants do the same thing. So, you know, the Earth's always facing a different planet. And the theory behind astrology is that when you're born, like whatever planets that's hitting the Earth with its energy, with its frequency, that's what like imprints you. And it has some degree of influence over your characteristics. So I don't think it's crazy stuff. I think a lot of the time the characteristic stuff is accurate, but the horoscope stuff, giant side to make it look stupid. Now, for the Elon thing, he also is getting active in German politics, which I think it's a good thing because Germany's a fucking mess right now. So here he is at the AfD rally making an appearance, which is, I guess, the most right, the farthest right side of German politics. I'm not super up to speed on German politics, but from what I hear, it's like the conservatives of Germany.
Exactly. I mean, I think we should fight for an exciting, bright future where people can be optimistic about what's going to happen, where you wake up and you look forward to the future. And the best way to ensure the future is good, you have to fight for a good future every day.
One may even say,
and it will be
the future
great.
looks
and
bright.
And we'll have a very exciting, wonderful future. So, so I think this election coming up in Germany is incredibly important. I think it could decide the entire fate of Europe, maybe the fate of the world. That is the significance of this election. So that's why it's very important to talk to your friends and family and convince them to consider voting for AfD, and just go with it like a chain reaction. Convince one friend, talk to another friend, and say, hey guys, do you want this? Do you want more of the last 10 years, or do you want something different? And I think the people in Germany want something different. And if you want something different, you have to vote for a different party. This is just a fact. This is logic.
I think Germany's ready for something different. Germany's a freaking mess right now.
So you are the future of Germany. Make it happen. But I can't emphasize enough. Go out there, talk to people, convince people, one vote at a time. There's a need for change. It's got to be done. And this election is so important It's extremely important. I do not say it lightly when I think the future of civilization could hang on this election. So when something is so important, you really need to say, okay, you got to go all out to convince people to vote for AfD.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So,
Pretty cool. So he's really getting involved in politics in every country. He's probably going to get involved in Brazilian politics too when that comes up. But I mean, so Germany is like the biggest economy in Europe. Really goes overlooked a lot of time. I mean, shit, they have like this really deeply rooted sense of guilt and like walking on eggshells ever since World War II. I mean, I think certain people or society kind of imposes that on them, so they are really hesitant to come out too strongly with their political beliefs. But you know, like put all that aside, think about today. Think about what's today. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't looked into this election too much. I don't know anything about either of the two. Well, I don't know anything about the new candidate, about the AfD candidate, but I know that Germany's been a disaster the way it's been run the last 20 years. Like, have you ever heard of the Chancellor of Germany? What the hell is his name? The Chancellor of Germany, who was on the Russian Gazprom board, who basically like agreed to shut down all of Germany's energy and be dependent on Russia in return for being put as like the chairman for Russia's energy company. I bet not a lot of people have heard of that. Let me look that up quick. Let's ask Grok. German chancellor who was put in charge of Russia oil company. Explain this situation. This is the craziest situation. There we go. Gerhard Schröder. So, situation you're referring to is former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder and his subsequent appointments to positions with the Russian energy companies after leaving office. Here's an overview based on available information. So, Gerhard Schröder was Chancellor of Germany 98 to 2005. During his tenure, he was known for improving German relations with Russia, notably through energy projects like Nord Stream pipeline. His relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin was particularly close, described by some as a friendship. Post-Chancellor in Russian energy roles, Nord Stream, after leaving office in 2005, Schröder was appointed as the chairman of the Shareholders Committee of Nord Stream AG, the company responsible for the pipeline connecting Russia and Germany directly. This move was controversial because it was seen by many as a conflict of interest. Oh, yeah, you don't say. But I got so it's not. It's even worse than this. So he shut down. Let's see. Did Schroeder shut down German energy? Did he make Germany more dependent on Russian energy? Yes, under Schröder's chancellorship, Germany did become more dependent on Russian energy, particularly natural gas. One of the most important, significant developments was the initiation of Nord Stream pipeline project, which was signed in an agreement in 2005, just before Schröder left. This pipeline was blah, blah, blah. Where's the part where he was shutting down their energy? Sure. Critics argue the dependency becomes a vulnerability. Sure, did not shut down German energy. It would be an exaggeration or misrepresentation. During his chancellorship, Germany was in the process of restructuring its energy policy, particularly with the adoption of renewable. There you go. So Schröder pushed the adoption of renewable energy in 2000, which aimed to increase the share of renewable energy. Yeah, it didn't mean shutting down energy production. Rather, it was transitioning towards more sustainable sources. So he starts pushing the renewable energy that we know is useless, doesn't do anything. It's like kind of the thing you push when you want to create a problem or when you want to make things more expensive. So he starts pushing this green energy stuff and then starts making a deal with Russia where they let the Nord Stream pipeline run through Germany and be like their main supplier of natural gas. Then when his chancellorship is over, he's on the freaking board of this company. So he completely sold out Germany to Russia. I just always thought that was an insane story. And, that's why Germany today, their energy prices are like 300% higher than they would be otherwise. But, no, it's nice to see Elon getting involved in politics across the world. Like I said, I know nothing about this candidate who's running in Germany, but, if it's the farthest leaning right party and they've been dominated by left-wing politics for so long, then I welcome it. It's a good change. And I still hope that Andrew Tate converts back to Christianity and becomes the prime minister of England, because, what a freaking disaster that is. But that is the rundown for today, guys. I could talk all night, but it is about to be 1 a.m. Trying to wake up somewhat early tomorrow. I'm going to work out quick and then try to get to bed by 3. Let's see. We'll read some chats quick before I go. Let's see. Where did we leave off? Germany's bad. Joke, they lost their nationalism and are dead people. Could say that the Jews had the last laugh that they didn't deserve. Thanks, CYB. Sid Laird said, I want to start hearing how you're going to help homeless American people. You guys get so caught up in talking about AI that American people are first restored republic. So the homeless problem, I think that's like a self-induced problem. So I always say the way to fix homelessness and poverty is to get 3 core things down in price from a supply side: food, housing, energy, even throw transportation in there. They're not following the natural law of products right now. Like every product that you create naturally is supposed to get cheaper, deflationary innovation. So flat screen TV, for example, $10,000 20 years ago. Today, $300 for the same exact TV. Okay. It's because we get better at making it. We get more effective and efficient at making it. Why isn't that cycle followed with houses? Why isn't that cycle followed with food? We make so much more food today. We have so many ways to make it more cheaply and abundantly. Like vertical farming. Like, why don't we use nuclear energy? Like, I could go through the stats and all this stuff. Like, there's infinite ways to make food, energy, housing, transportation cheaper. We're neglecting that. Like, our government has been choosing to let these core things that we all need to live not only remain at the same price, but get more expensive. So that's why we have poverty. If right now those things cost like 60-70% of the average income, if those things cost 10% of the average income, we'd eliminate almost all the poverty that there is, except for the people who choose to be crackheads. And speaking of the people who choose to be crackheads, why do we have fucking methadone clinics on half the cities in America? That's crazy. That's legal addictive drug use. Okay? So could go down that rabbit hole all night, but there's no reason that we should, and I'm not saying this from a standpoint of like, oh, let's give them money and help them. Like, we should not have homelessness. It should be very easy to afford the basic things that you need to live, right? And not from the standpoint of giving people the money to get that stuff, from the standpoint of that those things should be cheap enough for almost anybody to afford, even on a minimum wage job, which, by the way, minimum wage should be abolished. It's the stupidest thing ever. We can talk about that another day if you want, but minimum wage is the stupidest thing ever. You should be able to pay somebody a penny an hour if you want to. You should be allowed to make people pay you to let them work for you if you want to. And there should be no age requirement for people to work. Yeah, you want me to unpack that someday? I'm more than happy to. But at the same time, people would get taken advantage of in situations like that. So, yeah, you need some degree of oversight with that, like the ability for people to file complaints and have it looked at quickly, but not put the job creator in a vulnerable position either. But Mark, I'm telling you, minimum wage is the stupidest thing ever. Hurts more people than it helps. I'd love to talk about that someday. Thank you, Misty. Always looking out. They do Texas women. They do want to dumb us down, but it's more difficult for them to do that without the monopoly they have on the media now. Who wants to learn about why minimum wage is the stupidest thing ever someday? I will talk about that for an hour straight. Yeah, so get this, like only 4% of the land in America is developed with housing. 96% of the land in America is undeveloped. So there's not a, yes, there is a housing shortage. There's a shortage of about 4 million houses in America, but there's also a giant shortage of land that's being used. Like, we could fit every person in the world in Texas with their own home. You know, why aren't we using space? Why aren't we developing cities in different places? Like, it's the stupidest, like, and you act like, oh, just people just don't want to live there. No, you need to invest money to build things there to get people to want to live there. I mean, yeah, like any place that is going to be worth being a city, it needs to be next to a body of water, next to a navigable river. But there's plenty of places like that. Trump said it. I found this video the other day where he says this. He says that, like, and I've talked about this all the time too. Like, almost 35% of all the land in America is federally owned. And he said that we should be investing money into making some of that land, like, booming cities where people actually want to move to. How about this? How about giving a tax abatement for companies to build housing in different places, right? Like, that's what will incentivize home builders. That's what will incentivize companies who have the money to do this stuff. So we have to create a reason for, like, there to be a just boom in home building and in apartment building. But we haven't seen that. I'm sure Trump will get to it. He has a list of things he wants to do, and he mentioned it a year ago. But I've been saying this for years. We have to incentivize the home builders, and we have to get energy down, not just with gas, like, not just with oil, the whole drill baby drill thing. That's fine and great, but that needs to be a bridge to a realistic long-term solution. Like, we don't have enough oil for 300 years, and it's probably not a good thing to just be drilling forever. Especially when we have perfectly not only suitable replacements, but better replacements, like more powerful energy, cheaper energy, with things like nuclear or 0-point energy. Okay, so that's how we get rid of homelessness. Like I said, the one comment can generate 20 minutes of talking. So let's see. Yep, corporations like people being desperate. The government likes people being desperate. They like putting people on welfare. Does undeveloped include farmland? It's a good question. I don't know. Let's see. I'll do a quick lookup for you. Percent of undeveloped land in America. Let's see. Where is this study? What percent of land So here's really the best way to look at it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it shows all the time population density map. Like California, for example. Ton of people live here. Ton of people live here. Not a lot of people live here. Not a lot of people live here. All these states, nobody lives in. You know what these states have in common? This is actually funny. Let's see. Lands owned by government. Look at this. All right, ready? Look at this. So you got this, okay? All that white's pretty blank. Then look at this. Boom. All the red is the land owned by the government. Okay. So it's over a third of all the land in America. That's why all that area was white. Nobody lived there. So we have to develop housing in these areas. I mean, I get it. Nobody wants to live here. Nobody wants to live here, right? Okay. But like here, for example, you know, like Texas, giant freaking state. But it's just Dallas, Austin, Houston, a little bit of San Antonio. But, you know, all the space, like I get right here is nothing. I lived in Texas for a year and, you know, I made the drive from, see, I lived in Fort Worth. I drove up to Colorado. So I drove through this and yeah, there's nothing here. I mean, maybe you can make it cool. I mean, if Oklahoma City could have like a casino or something, you just got to build cool shit around here. But forget about that part for a second. Like, you know, like right here, housing's really expensive. Right here, housing's really expensive. Same thing here. But the outskirts of it slowly start to fill up, right? So you just got to incentivize home builders to develop new housing in these areas. Like Pat was telling the story once that he lived in, what the hell was the name? He named this city that was like on the outside of Dallas, the outskirts of Dallas. And he said in the 90s, it was like $60,000 to $80,000 for a house in that area. And today it's like $800,000 for a house. Because, you know, like people aren't able to afford these areas. So they start starting their businesses. Like in these areas, they start working their way out. Or the people who work here, they can't afford it. So they have to start looking over here to buy. The neighborhoods are developed and, you know, houses are cheaper at first. They eventually catch up, but we just need like a rapid development of home building. And there's ways to incentivize that. That's the point I'm getting at. Thank you, S9 Spirit. Read the treaties with the indigenous people, brand. Understand. Okay. I know. I bet that's very much not in our favor. Is that the federally owned land you're talking about? Hmm. G Wit says, love that your hat hides your frontal lobotomy scar. Thank you. I'm sure you could find some footage with me without the hat. But that'd be pretty effective lobotomy if I got lobotomized. I think I'm doing all right. So he says the only reason that is because we want our pretty places. Kind of agree. I love hiking in the woods. Exercise the best. Hell yeah, 100%. Randy says, Denise S. Easier to forgive those who lost in anger than those who use children exploitatively for their own pervasion. Yes, the Lord is guaranteed what their fate is. Which Elon thing? Are you talking about the him getting dissed a little bit? So he previously just didn't get an office in the West Wing. So he kind of got knocked down a few pegs, as old people would say. Yep, same thing. Lawrence says arrest Fauci. I think Fauci got a fate worse than being arrested. He has to live in fear for the rest of his life. He has security taken away. He can't afford adequate security compared to what he had before. Beautiful. Be great if from Bertrand Cam can take a deep dive into the doctrine of discovery and Judge John Marshall, the Papal Bulls. I will tell them about that. It sounds interesting. Let me send that their way. Tell them TRC requested, so jump on this. Gee whiz. Says I have a lobotomy. Why does Squid Game seem like there could be a possibility of being real? Yeah, it probably happens in some places where super rich people are so rich, and just, the most exciting thing they could do is like round up a bunch of poor people and make them fight to the death over things. I could see it. All indigenous land, Brandon, read the treaties. I got you. I'll read the treaties. Glazed overlook. What are you saying here, Denise? Federal forest what? All that area? Yeah, some of it probably some military projects and stuff. Logan says, I'm in Washington. In the red, it's all government land. We're not allowed to build or live on, but they can make more apartments. That sounds like government stuff. Let's see. So you're talking about Washington State? Yeah, I could see that. Well, guys, it's now 1 a.m. and it's time to go work out and go to bed. But as always, love you guys. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Give me feedback as always. Let me know what I can do better, what you hate, what you love. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to connect with me on Minnect for a personal one-on-one conversation, the link's below. Join the Forbidden Book Society Telegram. I think I put that in the description below, but if not, I will put that in there now. Love you as always. God bless. You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists, inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean, you're at Mar-a-Lago. I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.